Okay, I'd like to call to order, the meeting of the Sister Bay Village Board on Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Roll call. Howson here.
White here.
Kelly here.
Idler here. Backseat here.
Shampoo here.
I'm sorry, Patrice, I'm staring right at you. Shampoo. Okay, sorry about that. And Nate is excused. Item 2, approval for the meeting for today's agenda. Do I have a motion to approve or any changes? Edits?
Make a motion to approve.
Second, anybody? Idler seconding, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, agenda item 3, approved meeting minutes. So I think, well, we'll go one by one, I guess. So March 24th, 2026, meeting minutes. Any edits, changes, comments on those?
I was in attendance of that meeting and was left off the sheet.
Okay, so we need to add Skip. Okay, anybody else? Any other changes for that? No? Okay, so, do I have a motion to approve with, changes? Recommended changes? Moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the village board meeting minutes from Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. Any changes? Edits, anything like that?
So. Which line's not adding up? One of the motions. You were the one that seconded it, but it had a misspelling. Somebody named Adler was there. Somebody find where it was, 'cause
Okay, I found one in the next minutes, but I didn't find one in this one, so hold on. I seconded it, let's see.
I'm sorry, it was April 21st. Yeah,
Let's go back. One sec.
I hate this one, the page numbers all of a sudden don't line up with what I looked at.
Oh, I see, seconded by Adler. There's no Adler.
Yeah, it was you
What
that
page is
seconded.
that in,
Uh,
please?
Page 8 in the packet,
Okay,
Oh,
so,
yep, it is line 5, page 8. Yep.
yeah.
And
So
I
that
went
would
back
be-
and reviewed the video.
so that was second by Hausen,
Yeah,
thank you.
okay. Any other changes, amendments to it? Okay, do I have a motion to approve with that amendment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Okay, lastly, village board trustees meeting minutes from April 27th, 2026.
Yeah, I have a couple.
Okay.
I was present, so in the list of people present. And then on page 12 of the packet, there was a vote of the executive session. And I'm not listed in the people who said aye.
I have it looks like this is just a typo. Also, page 12, line 31. Conduit on Sullivan Mill Road. I think it's just Mill Road,
Okay,
right?
or maybe installed on Bell Road.
An ownership of the conduit. Yeah, it was just, I'm not understanding, installed on Mill Road. You're right, you're right. There was one other one too.
Randy Nesbitt's name somewhere wasn't right. Oh, line 29,
What page?
12. Village Attorney Randy Desmond.
Okay.
Doesn't
Sounds like a movie. This one. Okay. Yeah, the name was. One second, you guys. Nope. Okay, do I have a motion to approve as amended?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up is, well, we have special guests. Agenda item 4, presentations by Destination Door County and Door County Tourism Zone partnership presentation. and all that stuff.
Sorry, don't we have to take comments from the public?
I asked that question and I think, maybe you
Just
could-
to, if our guests, it's just for their time, we have that right after on 5 for the agenda.
Gotcha.
so yeah,
Sorry,
for those of you in the, for those of you that would like to make a comment that are here or online, we'll take, comments, correspondence and, concerns from the public just after this presentation. Okay, take it away.
Wonderful. I'll jump in first. Well, thank you for having us here. My name is Juliana Beam. I'm the administrator for the River County Tourism Zone, coming up on 5 years. And if you are less familiar with the zone, we are the entity that is responsible for collecting and remitting room tax in the county. We share an intergovernmental agreement with all 19 Door County municipalities and collect room tax at the 8% rate. And we are responsible for the database maintenance and room tax compliance for the county. So before I get into the rest of that discussion, I just wanted to remind you that your commission appointments are coming up again in June. We love having Louise on the commission with us, so please reappoint her. And you do have
Thanks.
3 spaces that are
That's great.
available. So just make sure that you have some appointments. It's a great opportunity for you to get your voice heard in Sister Bay when it comes to tourism and tourism concerns and room tax. I promise it's more fun than it sounds. So it is also, I also want to just kind of throw out a couple things that we've had questions as we've gone around to other municipalities, different questions that they've had that I wanted to highlight a little bit. So we've had a few questions about the available use for room tax dollars. So state statute limits how any municipality, any county can distribute room tax and utilize room tax. So in Door County, we have our agreement that stipulates that 30% is unrestricted and goes to the municipality for direct use. That can be used for anything that you'd like. The remaining 70% needs to be used for tourism promotion and development activities. So that has a lot more stringent requirements to it. Every year we have good questions from community organizations who may be interested in something like staff housing for seasonal employees or for childcare initiatives for staff of their businesses that operate within the tourism realm. But unfortunately, the way that it's set up, that would not be an option. Of course, we support those types of initiatives. However, for tourism promotion and development dollars, that's 70%. Those have to be used for projects that directly touch tourism, directly touch tourists or guests. So that is not something that is available to us to use. There are, of course, a lot of other things it can be used for, which John will talk a little bit more about in a minute. And then also, I'll just go into, okay, then also I'll just go into some of our 2025 statistics. You'll see I handed you a couple of graphs and spreadsheets. There's a lot on there. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to contact me and talk about it. Some of the questions that we get are about different lodging types and how they are doing, whether it's resorts compared to cottages, cabins, and homes. So I've given you a layout of how the occupancy and average daily rate has changed over time. I've also provided a copy of the seasonality report. We've had several municipalities in the past who've had questions about how seasonal rentals have changed over time. So I've included those in there. Obviously, as you can see that our on season, which is May through October, has really taken off in the last several years. So we can see that separation in the total lodging sales that was collected specifically for Sister Bay. And the same goes for the average daily rate. while occupancy is staying fairly consistent across those. And then you'll also notice in there is a brief historical review. I like to run one of these every year just to, when we're giving these presentations, to talk about our operations and our compliance actions. So you'll see in there that there's a chart that talks about the number of reports that were submitted. Last year, we collected 17,111 room tax reports, and about 15% of those were either late or needed to be amended, which is a drop from when the commission started. It was around 30%. So we're continuously looking for opportunities to reduce late reports, make sure that our lodging providers are aware of the consequences if they are late, if they are not completing their reporting accurately, and follow up on and compliance measures and potentially take legal action if necessary. Although we try to do everything we can to keep that from happening. That is really all that I have at this point in time. Does anyone have any questions or concerns?
On your graphs, your definition of home, these are homes that are being rented.
Yes, that's correct. And we do have a self-identifying system generally for our properties, so it is, yep, cottages, cabins, homes, that are being rented.
So if I look at that, to that question, so for 2025, the occupancy rate for homes was significantly less than hotels, resorts, no, about the same as resorts. No, less than resorts, sorry about that, inns, slightly greater than condos. So, if you, would it be? But there's like, I'm interested in making sure I understand, because you don't have actual units, number of units that are actual individual homes, right? That are, and I know you have that, it's just not in this report, I got it. But would the equivalent of that be available unit nights, right? So,
Yes.
so for instance, if the total available unit nights, I'm looking at, and on the flip side for 2025 was 189,799.
Mhm.
Can you explain to the board how you calculate that? Because that can be confusing. It's like, wow, that's a lot of nights. So can you explain how that's calculated?
Certainly, I'd be happy to. So for our lodging providers, when somebody applies for a permit, they are required to let us know how many months they are going to be active, which months they are going to be active. And then each month that they are permitted for, they are required to complete a monthly room tax report. And at that point, they report their total lodging sales, and any lodging sales that were, any taxes that were remitted through a marketplace provider like Airbnb, VRBO. And they are also required to report the number of unit nights that were available, which is the number of units, so the number of individual houses or individual rooms that can be rented separately, multiplied by the number of nights that it was available. So sometimes we have, if we have a larger resort, we'll have a couple thousand unit nights that are available. Whereas if it's one home that's being rented, it'll be 31 days in a month. And then they also include the number of unit nights that it was rented for that month period.
Okay, so if I do the math, about 12% of our total available lodging is individual homes.
That is correct. And I also, I know that earlier that you and I had spoken at some point in time about questions about waterfront properties versus inland properties.
Yeah.
So we're actually working on a small scale project to identify out of the cottages, cabins, and homes that are permitted currently, how many of those are waterfront property versus further in on the peninsula.
Okay. And then in terms of growth, I'm looking at, because it seems to me, it feels like short-term rentals, and I'm just talking homes, not condo. that growth has been pretty stagnant or slight. So we did get a little bit of, in terms of available unit nights, 25 over 24, slight growth. But 24 was down significantly, not significantly, 10% to 23. Okay,
And we are seeing that in a lot of municipalities, not just in Sister Bay. And we've had over the last couple of years, you know, 2020 obviously was down. 2021 was the biggest year that we'd ever had.
yeah.
And in the last couple of years, generally, room tax revenues have been increasing. But the vast majority of that is due to the average daily rates continuing to increase. Whereas the number of rented unit nights, is either staying pretty steady or declining. Depending on the property type.
Because occupancy for the county is flat or declining, it's the rates that are going up. But what's weird about condos, this is Sister Bay, is the huge jump in 24 over 23. You must have built something.
Yes,
What was that? Anyway, okay.
I believe there were 2 condo sets that were added, and sometimes, I'm not sure whether, I would have to look to see whether it was this case, but sometimes we have condo associations where they move from having individual property owners, or they'll move from having a collective where it is one entity that's reporting.
Oh,
for
so
all
they'll
people
report
in
one
condos.
unit.
Yeah, so it shifts from.
That's probably what
that
happened.
individual ones. Yeah, so
Because a
that's.
big development like that didn't happen in 24.
Yeah, there's a couple times that it's happened. It happened over in Egg Harbor too, so it usually is a fairly significant shift kind of a little bit next year.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, oh my goodness, I mean, if you worked at all with Juliana and no, I mean, it is rare to have her in that position and rare to have the position and very rare to have somebody as incredibly competent as Juliana, so we're lucky. Collects every dime, you know. Well, yeah, Coke, like VRBO and Airbnb every day. So anyway,
So hello there, my name is John Jarsh. I'm a member longtime member of the professional staff at Destination Door County. Thanks for having us here tonight. I also handed out a little goodie folder for each of you. You can see that here. On the inside on the right, you'll see kind of an overview sheet that I'll kind of run through as we're going, but it's certainly not everything that we do, but I try to certainly highlight some of the key things that we'd like to share. But before I actually get started, I do want to just call out a few folks that are important to us and our organization. They're sitting right behind me here, Andrew and Chris, 2 members from Sister Bay community here that are part of our board of directors, part of the integral governance structure that we have. So Chris and Andrew, thanks for being here and for all your work. And then I also want to talk to point out Abby and Aaron in the back row there with the SBAA and the important role that they fulfill here in your community. They're also very important partners of ours. We work with all of our community business associations, not only from a funding perspective, but also just to partnership with kind of creating the experience offer here in Door County. And just want to thank you both and the entire SBAA crew for all you do for Sister Bay and for the county. So thank you. Tourism promotion really is kind of the foundation of what we do. We've been at it for a few years. 1891, if you want to get technical, is when our organization was founded. But we've evolved over the years, and there's a reason why I think we're on our 8th name at this point. And that's because we've evolved as our community needs have evolved since that time. And so if any of you have been around for a while, you may recall us as the Door County Chamber of Commerce. That was the name of our organization for about 80 years, from 1924 to 2004. And we kept moving around, and right before 2020 started, we changed our name to Destination Door County, which really that's our current name, and I have a feeling we'll be here for a while. But we really have focused so much more in the last 5 years or so than just on marketing and just putting heads in beds. That was our mantra for years and decades, and it was a very important one, and it still is today. but we try to do so much more than just the working on economic impact now. That certainly drives everything that we do, because that activity gives us the resources to do the other things that we're also able to do now, that is a little bit more focused on our community and how can we help show our residents how tourism can positively impact all of us. So one of the things that you'll see in your folder on the right-hand side, I'll start with this one real quick. I promise not to be too long today because I know you have a full agenda. But where does room tax go in Door County? This is a nice little quick one-sheeter that helps to share, obviously the 30%, you all know very well where your 30% goes. But the other 70% that is for tourism promotion and tourism development. As a designated tourism entity, we use those funds that we're entrusted with in a couple of different ways, and this is really a nice way to kind of highlight those. Certainly, I'll point out our core operations, which is the primary function that we have, marketing and promoting our businesses and getting visitors here to spend visitor dollars while they're here in Door County. Certainly, our core operations and a bulk of the funding that we have goes to those efforts, but that no longer is the only thing we do. Right above that is our community investment fund. That's been a tremendously successful program in our mind. I think for our community, it's allowed us to utilize some of those 70% that we're entrusted with to give back to the community in an investment capacity through grants and opportunities to help fund projects that are important to our communities that they've identified as priorities. To date, our program has been able to invest in 66 different projects to the tune of just under $3.5 million. And those are funds that do two things. Number one, they certainly, because they're part of that 70%, they do have to positively impact the visitor experience and enhance it in some way. But the other caveat that we put on that particular program is it also has to show how it positively impacts our residents. So the projects that we've been able to fund have done both of those things. That's a requirement. All while, of course, still maintaining state statute requirements, which is important because that 70% is required by state to be spent on tourism promotion and tourism development. We've been happy and delighted to be able to help fund some projects right here in Sister Bay. Certainly, I have had many a conversation with Miles and the ice rink project that's happening. We're happy to provide a grant for that particular project. And just that was a more recent one, along with some stuff at Corner of the Past. In Sister Bay, they've also been recipients of some grant funding. And those grants there's a 4-time-a-year deadline for that. So lots of opportunities to do that. This year, our board has really, I think, believes firmly in that program. And this year, we have invested another $2.2 million into the Community Investment Fund. So that program will just continue to roll, and we certainly would encourage you to apply for funds for projects that make sense for that particular program. Another portion that we use funds for that you're also familiar with is the municipal reimbursement program. That's the little green box. That essentially is a way for us to partner with each of our municipalities. That is a direct amount that you pay to help fund the tourism zone and their administrative expenses. That's a way that we can help provide you some funds back to make up for that expense that you have. Because it's part of our 70%, you do have to use those for fairly specific purposes, unlike the 30% that you get. But you have plenty of things here in the village that you can spend those dollars on that are well within state statute. So we appreciate that partnership. Then another key portion is that kind of beige or peach colored box, our Community Business Association funding. Our community business associations really do play a critical role in our experience here. And they do some of the work that we're not able to do as an organization. Most notably is events. The last thing we want to do is sponsor our own and host our own fall festival.
Oh, come on.
But all of our community business associations do a really good job with that. And so the funding that we provide to each of them, I think it helps support them in their efforts, and not only supporting their individual businesses, but their communities. And it's been a really great partnership. It's a significant amount of money. This year, that funding pool is about $1.6 million that they all split up based on the amount of the percent of that their municipality puts into the overall pot. That's how we do it fairly and divide those funds up. So But we really do appreciate it and all the work that our CPAs do, and including Sturgeon Bay or Sister Bay Advancement Association, my apologies. And it's been a great partnership and it works very well. So, a couple other things that I'll talk about, and then I'll be happy to answer questions. In your folder, you will also see the power of tourism. A lot of times I'll start with this, but this is a very critical piece of the puzzle, since this economic impact is really what drives and allows us to do so many of the things that we do, including the 30% that you get as part of that. The core operations that we do drives that economic impact. These numbers are from 2004. 2024, excuse me, we'll have numbers for 2025 here in about 3.5 to 4 weeks. I just got a note that said we'll be announcing those the 9th or the 10th of June. After the governor does, he gets first dibs. So, but you can see the amount of impact that it has on our community, 523 million in direct spending in Door County, and 651 million in overall impact. That's an incredible amount of money that really helps to support the families that live and work and call Door County home. And we're thrilled with that. And we anticipate, based on some of the preliminary numbers that we've seen, whether it's through room tax, whether it's through the sales tax, that we'll be up again in 2025. Not sure exactly where the numbers will fall, but, and the tax revenue, that's fairly significant. Numbers that are on here kind of help show you that. A number that I like to call out because I think it's impactful, even if you're not directly tied into the industry, but the additional amount that each household would need to pay to just keep the same level of services that we get now based on the amount of money that comes in from tourism, we would all have to pay an additional $3,700 a year in taxes to keep the same level of service that we have now. So it's a significant amount. A few other things I will highlight happens to do with workforce recruitment. Obviously, making sure that the visitor experience is top notch. We understand that there needs to be a fairly substantial frontline hospitality workforce in place. And so we have a website that we work on in conjunction with the Door County Economic Development Corporation. It is complementary to all of our businesses and organizations here in the county. And it's also the primary call to action that we use when in our workforce recruitment campaign to try to encourage folks, whether it's students or whomever it is, to come and work in Door County, whether it's for the summer, for the season, or even to move here full time. The other thing that we're proud of and that we like to also call out is recognizing that frontline hospitality workforce. We have our help sponsor Server of the Week and the Pulse every week. And we also do a year-end hospitality hero campaign that is a way for us to help recognize our frontline hospitality workforce. So I would encourage each of you as you're out and about here in the next 6 to 8 months, if you experience really good service somewhere, make a mental note of that. And when we put a call out to our community in November for hospitality hero nominations, certainly would encourage you to submit that and tell a little bit of a story about your experience and where you had really exceptional service. So 2 other things that I will point out on the left side of your folder. One is our strategic plan. This is as boring as these can be sometimes. These really are the roadmap for us as an organization. To drive all of the programs that we have in place. And I would like to point out that at one point in time, we as an organization would have had 1 pillar, and that would have been economic vitality. And while that's still the top pillar for us, we also have 2 other pillars now that are also hold up the stool, and that's community and workforce and stewardship and regeneration. So some of the other programs that we have certainly do focus back on our community and making sure that our tourism industry here throughout the county is really trying to work for everybody. And we try to highlight ways that, yeah, we're really sorry that you might not be able to take a left for a few months, but there really are some positive benefits to our industry that we all like to try to point out and showcase. So, and then the last thing on the left side of your packet is our Door County Destination Stewardship Plan. This also is a key driver of what it is that we do, because we realize that if we're only focused on the short term and that short-term economic benefit, Door County won't be around in 10 or 20 or 50 years. And it's really paramount that we focus on the long-term strategies and long-term sustainability of our destination. This stewardship plan was a program that we put in place and funded on behalf of our community a couple of years ago. We released it about 2 years ago, but we had, even in this room, one of our focus groups. As we were going through the process of putting this plan together, we got input from about 1,500 residents, and whether they're full-time or seasonal residents, to help put this plan together. And we really do try to use it as another place to focus on where we need to look at and programs that we need to have in place. A few things of note that you'll see in the stewardship plan, there are some things that we cannot help financially do in this particular report. But that doesn't mean they're not important, and our community obviously identified them as important. But housing, workforce housing, as Juliana talked about, that's one place that we can help support and advocate for, but we can't put room tax dollars towards initiatives like that. But we can help other organizations that might be working on those sorts of things. So Door County Economic Development Corporation is a great example. We can help advocate and support the work that they're doing in those initiatives, even if we may not necessarily be able to put room tax funding behind some of those initiatives. So, and I'll finish up just by saying thank you for your partnership. We couldn't do this alone. Certainly we need all of our municipalities. I think we're so extremely fortunate to have the setup that we do here in Door County. The fact that we had 19 municipalities come together and say, look, we're all in this together, like, that's pretty special. And I really want to thank you for that and for being a part of the whole game. We are also, don't know how lucky we have it with the arrangement with our organization, with the tourism zone, because we are, and you don't know that until you start asking around the state and realize how rough some municipalities and some tourism organizations have it out there.
Yeah, it's hard.
We are incredibly fortunate to have the setup that we have here. The amount of room tax that goes uncollected is just unheard of.
Yeah.
And so we're just, thank you to Juliana and to everybody for being part of the team. So happy to answer any questions at this point in time that you might have.
I have a quick question, John. At this point, any sense from the data that you guys are looking at and looking out in terms of future bookings? This is lodging, so this is room tax and traveling and stuff. Any sense of what we could expect this summer from a?
Yeah, so the forward-looking data that we have access to only pertains to short-term rentals, Airbnb and VRBO.
Yeah, okay.
We don't have any other data in that capacity, but both of those look positive. I can't remember off the top of my head what those numbers were, but they're up over last year. And from a financial perspective and revenue, like over 10%. These are advanced bookings, and I say that the tool that we use can look at, okay, as of May 19th, both this year and as of May 19th last year, like, what did it look like for June, July, and August?
Yeah.
So that's one of the reports that we can run.
Is that dollars or units booked?
It has both. There's actually 8 different data points.
Okay.
And I'm happy to share that with you. It's a report that I can access. But that looks positive. Now, again, that's just short-term rentals.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what some of the other things are looking like, other lodging property and types. The other thing that we're seeing, and this is from a national perspective, since we didn't do the study ourselves, but a couple of the national travel surveys point to a couple things. Number one, people are still prioritizing travel. So that's encouraging from that perspective. But what we are seeing is they're canceling and readjusting their travel plan. So instead of taking the family across country to Wally World, they're staying closer to home. And I think from Door County's perspective, that puts us in a decent position, because we are close to a lot of people. And I think we might get some of those folks that have said, look, we're not going to travel out west, but we'll stay closer to home. We're gonna go to Door County for a long weekend and for a week or whatever it might be. So I think that should be okay. And historically, if you've looked at previous times where gas prices have been really high, that same sort of thing has happened in Door County. We've maybe captured people that, instead of traveling further distances or maybe flying, because flight costs are pretty high now as well, they've decided to stay closer to home and do a road trip. So we've voted well on that. What we don't know, and we unfortunately don't really have data other than some of the trends that we're seeing in surveys, is how people's spending habits will change once they're actually here. So they still might be here, they still might arrive, but we don't know if they're going to adjust their spending habits while they're here. maybe one less meal, maybe a few less trinkets. We don't know that, but we're kind of keeping an eye on that. That's one of the trends that we're seeing nationally is they're saying people are still gonna travel, but when they get in destination, they may not spend quite as much just because of the perception of higher transportation costs and those sorts of things.
Okay, and then one other, and maybe you don't know this, but I had heard that with J1s, that they're getting visa, but it's taken a long time or longer. Is that true?
So it is taking a little bit longer from what we've heard, recently. However, just this past Friday, my colleague Phil Burnt, who's our
Right.
primary, J1 person, he did hear from the State Department, and this was super encouraging news. If everyone that is scheduled to arrive actually arrives, we'll have the most J1 students that we've ever had, where it was in the 560 range.
Really?
Now, until they're here, until they cross that bridge, it's hard to say, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that can happen and go wrong
Yeah.
between where they're at now and registered to arrive and actually get here.
Yeah.
But the initial, it seems really, really encouraging at this point that should all happen.
560, last year
So-
was in the 400s, wasn't it?
We were actually in the 550s last year.
Okay,
So we'll eclipse last year by just a little bit, but
Okay.
still, if they all are able to show. One thing we have procured are 2 dates and for the Social Security Administration to actually come to Door County to do Social Security card sign up days.
Yeah.
Those will both again be at the Ephraim Village Hall, one in June and one in July.
okay.
So if that's of any interest to anyone, we'll certainly be spreading the word via email and all the ways that we spread the word, when those dates are gonna be.
Okay, that's important to us, all right.
I had heard from somebody that brings in a number of J1s that they were having some trouble because the allotment of visas was being reduced on the J1 side because of the World Cup soccer and other stuff.
Yeah.
Have you been hearing that too, or?
That, I mean, it's a different visa, so the J1 would, so that wouldn't
I know it's a
impact
different
anything.
visa, but I think it was about the processing and just the sheer volume.
Yeah, and I know we have been hearing things there, we've been in contact with Representative Weed's office. To try to encourage them to staff as maximum, those offices as much as they possibly can. Because that was one of the things that we had been hearing earlier this year. Now, again, based on what the State Department just reported to us. There's still all the dominoes have lined up to have 560 some students here with us this year. And again, that's one of the reasons I said until they're here, it's hard to say, because there are some things that could go wrong in the process, delays in processing or whatever it may be. But at this point in time, we're still really optimistic that we're gonna get all those students. So we'll see. I hope that I can come back in a few months and tell you that. I really do.
Okay. It'd be helpful if Phil, just in general, maybe he does this anyway, with the CVAs, just sends a blast out that says. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
because that's, it just would be, although, I mean, you guys, I don't know if you need that or not, but it would be helpful to know that for our businesses. You know, because that's terrifying, you know, to think that, I don't think, I'm not sure it's gonna happen necessarily, but we have a lot of them.
Yeah.
We probably-
And you know, there certainly could be some issues with individual businesses and obviously they're working with their sponsors and
Oh, yeah. they-
working through all the.
Yeah,
that
I
stuff.
think most anybody that's bringing them over is good at it.
Yeah,
They know what
yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing. Yeah, it's
That's
okay.
really kind of what Phil got with at that macro level, so.
Yeah, yeah,
But
Okay.
even there, you know, if we were hearing struggles there and they were like, oh, it looks like it's gonna be 200 this year. If they were saying it at that level, then we would they would be really, really
Okay.
concerned, but
exactly, yeah.
unfortunately, they're not at this point in time.
Anybody else? Well, thank you for all your work, appreciate it, thanks for coming up,
Thank you.
all right?
Appreciate being early in the agenda.
Sure.
Sorry to anybody that's waiting on comments and
Ah, yeah. Okay, thanks a lot.
thank you.
Okay, we will move on to agenda item number 5, common correspondence concerns from the public. I know that we have one letter in the packet. And I don't. Do I see anybody else online? Hold on. Online participants, see anybody? Anybody raising their hand? No. Anybody in the audience? Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Chuck Westman. I'm the manager for Lakes Gas Propane. Our branch right now is in Sturgeon Bay. We talked to one of the staff, I believe Vlad, his name. He,
Vlad's on, actually, he's on
He's on-
He's on Zoom, yeah, he's our finance director.
Awesome, yeah, we have set a propane tank for his house this winter, and he requested or asked and advised us that we come to you guys and see if we couldn't serve the village of Sister Bay's propane needs. We currently serve roughly 800 residents. About 213 commercials and about 600 roughly residentials.
You served me,
What's that?
you served me,
Yeah, well, hopefully.
you're coming to my
Good.
house Friday.
Yeah, so we were looking, he had mentioned that potentially there isn't a process set up for bids now. And we were wondering if that was something that we could kind of get in motion and put our name in the hat for serving the village.
Okay, how do we respond, do we?
Can I add something to that?
Sorry, Vlad, of course, yeah.
I do apologize. So what happened? It's actually coming up from finance committee. Remember back in few months ago when there was a task to research, is there like a additional somebody else who we were concerned about rates. So that's the whole reason having somebody else pretty much looked in and
Okay.
participating in all of this.
Yeah, we talked about that inside out.
I understand. Okay, sorry, didn't know that. All right, so it looks like it's gonna be taken up at the, with our finance committee.
Yeah, but, yeah, we'll have to do a little research on what the bid process is. I
We can-
definitely think we could, yeah.
Yeah, we just want to mention it as part of matters to be placed on a future agenda or referred to committee.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir, what was your first name?
Chuck,
Chuck, okay, thank you for coming.
yeah,
Thank you for waiting.
yeah, that was fascinating.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, I was sort of thinking about that.
Really? Okay. No one tells me. I'll admit you. Okay, that's great, thanks. Any other, okay, no, I don't think we've seen.
Excuse me, Jill Weeby from 10704 Woodcrest Lane. Put in chat to please support the Open Door Pride Cup proclamation.
Thank you, Jill. Okay, we will now move on to, item 6A, June 2026, Open Door Pride Month. Okay, so this is a proclamation from the Village of Sister Bay, and I read it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Village of Sister Bay, Wisconsin proclamation, June 2026 as Open Door Pride Month. Whereas lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual citizens and citizens of all orientations and identities, LGBTQIA+, visit, work, and live with pride in Olive Door County. And whereas many LGBTQIA+ visitors and residents have an immeasurable impact on the culture, civic, and economic success of the county and our village. And whereas local LGBTQIA+ residents have often faced adversity and challenges as they strive to enjoy the same quality of life and opportunities as non-LGBTQIA+ residents, and are deserving of a village that embraces and welcomes with pride all persons. And whereas Sister Bay wants all visitors and residents to take pride in the diversity of their community and the beautiful contributions we all make to those places we love to visit, work, and live. Now, therefore, the Village Board of Trustees for the Village of Sister Bay, Wisconsin, a small waterfront community enriched by diversity, enhanced by a culture of acceptance and kindness, strengthened by respect and appreciation for all, and chosen for their welcoming spirit on this 19th day of May 2026, hereby proclaims June 2026 as Open Door Pride Month. Do I have a motion to correct? Or do we?
Just in terms of the proclamation, it can just be,
Okay,
History had a motion, second, and discussion, so last year.
history had what, a motion?
Last year with this proclamation, there was a motion, a second, and discussion.
if you'd like to, it, It depends on your
I'm
interpretation.
fine with that. Motion to accept, motion to accept. Is that what I do?
If you wanna make the motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept. For a second,
Second,
okay?
And
I'll,
can I ask, can we
course.
discuss real quick?
let's discuss. Let's
First of
discuss, sure.
all, love this. I know we did it last year. I have one thing that's come up to me from people in the public that there was concern that last year in certain areas, and I have nothing against anybody whatsoever, I just put it out there. There was concern that the pride flag was raised in several areas higher than the American flag, and that was offensive to some people.
Okay,
And I said I would absolutely bring it up. I think that's fair. I don't think
That's
any
fair,
flag
yeah.
should be higher than the American flag technically.
yeah,
That's
In the
flag
United
etiquette. I
States.
think you're right.
Yeah, so,
that's fair.
that would
We'd
be
have to let
the
Parks-
one request to go with that.
We would let, because parks would be the ones that would raise and lower any flag, so we would not let Eric know.
Yeah, I'm not sure where in particular. I
I don't know where.
It came up in comments several times,
All
so.
flags, right?
listen,
Yeah, I don't think we can control
That's,
businesses or
yeah,
anything.
okay, I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if it was businesses or public.
No, it was
just-
at the Village Hall.
I was gonna say, I heard it was possibly.
are they
yeah,
different level? How do we hang flags at different levels at Village Hall?
They had
have
removed
to
one
be.
flag and there's 3 different flagpole holders. on
Right,
the
or is
Village
one
Hall.
higher than
So
the
they
other?
just put it on top.
So American goes in the top, of course, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was probably out of ease. It was probably the easier way to do
Okay.
that, but, I would say if you're being correct about it, the American flag should
Yeah.
be the highest flag.
You're right.
While we're in discussion,
Uh-huh.
if I may, and I don't want there to be any misunderstanding about my vocation on this, but, based on my Christian beliefs and biblical understanding, I am not able to support the Village of Sister Bay's proclamation of June 2026 as Open Door Pride Month. This is done any way intended to restrict the personal rights of or how we should care for and about fellow human beings. I see a proclamation like this as asking the whole community to get behind something that not everybody may agree on. I understand some may see this as challenging the LGBTQIA+ community. That is not my intention. I only want to explain why I cannot support this proclamation.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Any more comments? Okay, we're gonna move on. All right,
You
Sorry.
have to accept the.
There was a motion on the floor.
So there's a-
Accept.
oh, so then vote all in favor? Right, okay. All in
Was there a
favor?
second?
There was
I
a
did.
second.
Okay.
All in favor?
aye,
Okay.
Opposed.
Then the, what's it called? The proclamation is in order. I don't know, proclamation passes, right? Okay.
And
Sorry,
accept.
guys. Okay, now we have resolution number 2026-002. This would be authorizing municipal credit card service with Nicolay Bank of Green Bay and transition from Elon, am I pronouncing it correctly? Financial services. Whereas the Village of Sister Bay is a local municipal government in the county of Door of the state of Wisconsin, whose principal place of business is located at 2383 Maple Drive, Sister Bay, Wisconsin. Whereas the village board finds that the use of municipal credit cards is necessary and appropriate to facilitate efficient purchasing of goods, services, travel, and other authorized expenditures for official village businesses. And whereas the village currently maintains municipal credit card services through Elon Financial Services, and whereas the village board has determined that establishing new municipal credit card services with Nicolay Bank of Green Bay, Wisconsin, which includes a 1% cashback benefit, is in the best financial interest of the village. And whereas financial institutions require formal authorization by resolution for the establishment of municipal credit card accounts and related services. Now therefore be it resolved, the village board of the Village of Sister Bay, Wisconsin hereby authorizes the establishment of new municipal credit card services with Nicolay Bank of Green Bay, Wisconsin for the purpose of conducting official village business, including participation in a 1% cashback program. Be it further resolved that the village's existing credit card services with Uline Financial Services shall be gradually phased out and discontinued within several months following the implementation and activation of the Nicolay Bank Credit Card Program as determined appropriate by the village financial specialist treasurer to ensure an orderly transition. Be it further resolved that the following individuals are hereby authorized to participate in the village's municipal credit card program with Nicolay Bank of Green Bay, Wisconsin, with assigned roles as indicated. Vladimir Ganek, program administrator and card holder. Benjamin Andrews, card holder. Sarah A. Burgess, reporting administrator and card holder. Julie Tyson, card holder only. Eric Ligsmeyer, card holder only. Dave Lino, card holder only. Megan Barnes, card holder only. Be it further resolved that all municipal credit card usage shall be subject to the village's adopting purchasing policies, internal controls, and any credit card policy established or approved by the village board. Be it further resolved that the program administrator, financial specialist / treasurer is authorized to establish credit limits, approve card issuance, oversee reconciliation, and to execute all necessary documents, agreements, and instruments required by Nicolay Bank of Green Bay to implement and maintain such credit card services. Be it further resolved that this authorization shall remain in effect until modified or rescinded by further action of the village board. Introduced at a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sister Bay this 19th day of May 2026, passed and adopted this 19th day of May 2026. So I think we'll just do what we did before, which is, do I have a motion in favor of resolution number 2026-002?
So moved.
I so move.
Okay, all in favor?
I have
Questions?
questions.
I'm sorry, questions, I beg your pardon, questions, I forgot about that part, questions, I'm sorry, yeah. Or Terry.
So it made reference there to basically some checks and balances on it. My question is, like, all these people that have the credit cards, is there one limit for everybody for each card? Or does Ben have a higher credit card limit than whoever Megan Barnes is?
Is it, Megan?
Ben, I can answer that question.
Yeah, I know, Vlad would know a little bit more about it.
Okay, Vlad, thank you.
The village of Sister Bay will have a $30,000 credit limit. Right now it's 20, but we also added Ben and Sarah. So some of the users will have 5,000, some of them will have 2,500.
So if in any given month, the people with a $5,000 limit, if 6 of them hit 30,000, then all the credit cards are shut down?
Yes, yeah. Or usually the admin has right to hit $30,000 like on its own.
I will assure you that I'm not spending that amount of money.
No, but what I'm getting at, that's the check and balance, that it's gonna hit something and then it's gonna stop.
Correct, yeah.
So our total credit limit with 3, 6, 7 users is 30,000?
Yes.
And are these cards used mostly as a convenience when the regular purchasing procedures don't work?
We're talking about it in terms of office supplies, if there is anything in terms of ordering, printer, ink and that type of stuff, it really is just more of a convenience when we're talking about business uses. It's really not used for too much, and then there's also just some various uses for, utility and parks for very similar purposes as well, for cleaning equipment and other things like that.
Yeah, I was presuming that was just asking the question.
Yeah.
And then do our internal controls already deal with how the 1% cash back would be used?
It's a good question.
By only the village, and what kind of restrictions are there on that?
I do not believe that there is any financial policy that currently would dictate what the use of the 1% cashback would be.
So I think we probably need to put something, I don't know if it's appropriate to add to the resolution or just somewhere that's got to be set up so that that can only be spent on village purchases.
Okay, Vlad, did you hear Skip's question?
Yes, so I mean, it can be recorded as miscellaneous revenue and can be part of the village revenue. Then potentially can be used to offset expenses, but thank you for pointing out. It just because with Elan, we never had cash back. So
So I assume you'll have to set up another account number.
we
that
can set
will
up another
show-
account or
Yeah,
can be
show-
recorded
because
as
it's gonna be income whenever it comes in, and then it would go out also.
Right, right, and that would go into the P and L, right?
yes, yeah,
The
can be
general
part of the
fund?
budget.
Into the budget, into the general fund, and we just,
If you get 1% cash back on your credit card, I might be wrong here, but normally it just shows up in your, as you log in, and I just use that money to pay for purchases.
yeah, I don't know
on the
if they
credit
actually
card.
give you, do they?
I think
You
can get
you
it,
basically use it to pay your credit card bill,
but yeah,
Ah,
as long as it's noted.
so it probably should be something that, keeps it rolling back in instead of
yeah,
letting it accumulate or
Right.
just, that every month it.
I mean, because Village of Sister Bay have fund accounting, so each expense needs to come out from certain part of the budget. So it kind of good idea to use the cash back to pay it off, but then
who do you
then
assign
it's
it
gonna
to?
be
Well, essentially, you just have a P&L account that's gonna show how much
Yeah.
came in and went out every month.
yeah, right.
Too
It should be
confusing.
clear.
Better to record
Yeah.
as revenue.
So,
Quick question on the history of how we got to this particular card and bank.
Yeah,
I'm just,
no, it's a good
I was
question.
actually going to share that as well.
Okay.
So essentially, Vlad and I met with our current financial vendor, which would be Nicolay Bank. Essentially, they provided additional information that they had a credit card. Elan Financial Services was with our old bank that we used to have as part of it. So it just was something where it stuck. Really, because all of our financials are going through Nicolay, it seemed beneficial to consolidate the credit card services as part of it as well. And they also provided the 1% cash back as well. And then just in terms of the credit cards themselves, is that it, obviously Vlad covered a little bit more about what the limits are, but it's the same card holders and levels that are identified as part of the other cards. And then just as part of this process, it's the standard process to have the old credit cards currently in use until the point that they are phased out, so that there's not any, potential gap in service for the credit cards and payments and things like that. So really, this was based off of the conversation with Nicolay that it would be beneficial to consolidate, and that's the primary motivation for it.
Are the Elan cards or any of those set up on reoccurring charges automatically? Is that part of the phase out?
There are some, such as like Adobe licenses, but honestly, it's a good opportunity because we should be consolidating some of these into one card or to one payment method instead of distributed across multiple cards.
That's all the questions. I
Okay,
have.
great questions, really good questions. So do we, since we're gonna create. I need some help with this. Are we approving this the way it is, or do we need to add something that says what we're gonna do with the 1%?
I would say that you can adopt the resolution with the additional identification of the use of the 1% cashback benefit for village purchases. If that is appropriate.
Yeah, that would be the way my motion would read.
There already is a motion on the floor, just so you know.
There is, so I need a new motion,
That needs withdrawn.
Yep.
so, let's see, who made you made somebody made the motion, oh, I did, I made it, sorry, I'll withdraw my first motion. And,
This is the second withdrawal also.
sorry,
Who made the second?
nobody has.
no, I thought you did.
Oh, I seconded.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sorry.
you withdraw also.
So withdraws
Yes,
that,
I withdraw.
and then I don't remember what you said, so somebody else can say what. you
So
said.
motion would be to accept resolution 2026-002 with the additional requirement that the 1% cash back be used only on village purchases.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Ben, appreciate it. Okay, next up is agenda 8. Okay, agenda 8A, Northern Door Sports and Recreation Proposal, Facility Reservations Management.
All right, so this is coming from Parks Committee here, and there's been some different discussions with the Parks Committee regarding the proposal from Northern Door Sports and Recreation regarding facility reservations management within the Village of Sister Bay. Essentially, as part of the services that Northern Door Sports and Recreation provides, they can provide an online service to the Village of Sister Bay and other vendors that would essentially allow users to sign up for reservations for both facilities and for specific recreational uses. And that as part of their proposed services, they would host the online service as well as assist users with signing up for the facility management and also providing staff with different training services as part of it. So this was discussed at the Parks Committee meeting, and the specific proposal was limited to specific sports-related facilities. That would include the tennis and pickleball courts, the gazebo, and the sports complex. And then ultimately, the proposal was revised to specifically include an annual contract fee of $1,450 per year, with additional card fees as proposed. At the time, the Parks Committee provided the recommendation for the village board to approve as presented. Just wanted to make a note that Rachel, the representative from Northern Door Sports and Recreation, would have liked to have been present to discuss the proposal, but she is currently finishing up with swimming lessons.
It's the swimming.
So she is not done until 7, and you're cutting it close here for her time. But she just wanted to express that she would have liked to have been here if she was available.
The reason parks I'm on parks, and the reason, one of the big motivators was the amount of time that it takes to manage reservations for the pickleball courts and the tennis courts for Sarah. Because it's paper, it's phone calls, it can be
It's a very manual process.
it's very manual, we'll just put it in that. And so, and if you're familiar at all with Northern Door Sports and what they do, and the book that they put out a book every season for all the different, not that programs they manage, but they help other people manage their programs. They're good at it. And I think so they would help, we would be in that. And, I also felt that it was our toe in the water in getting at least that cohort used to booking things with the village online and doing things digitally and starting to work that way. So that it's again, not as, because Sarah said it could be hours. So calling somebody, having them call back, here's the paperwork isn't right, so forth.
That sort of brings me to my question is, do you think that this is actually gonna save, in a sense, the village money, like freeing up Sarah to do?
Yeah, I mean, it would
things?
certainly I'm sorry.
Hi, if I could chime in, because I see what Sarah and the Parks and Maintenance do. It's not just Sarah, actually,
Oh,
because.
sorry, it's Julie too.
No, I was going to say,
Okay.
it's actually maintenance spends a lot of time having to print out the schedule every day and then post it up at the pickleball courts for everybody to see for when the reservations are.
That would be daily.
Yeah, pretty much,
Yeah.
for sure.
So now, and someone can make a reservation at midnight. It's like, kind of like, 2026. So it's what we can do now to help it's just a service to our residents. But we can still prevent double booking, we can still prevent people from, because they will still take a look at the reservation, and if need be, run it past us and stuff.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were playing.
Sorry.
So when somebody goes online to book, I'm actually very familiar with Northern Door Sports and
Oh,
Rec.
you
We
are?
book all of our sports
Is
through
it a good
there.
experience?
I've been on there a bajillion times. Yeah, it's gotten better over the past couple of years.
Okay.
So they made it very easy. You like literally make a profile and you can save your favorites and go on. You can check your calendar. All the things you sign up for will show up on there for you. It's really, really nice. once somebody goes online and puts in a request to book something, does
Uh-huh.
it still go to staff and then someone has to approve it? Or will it just auto approve for somebody?
No.
No,
So-
she has someone that, sorry, not she. they
Yeah,
do.
so essentially it'd be set as part of this, it'd be set with specific parameters about when they can book, so that it doesn't book out too far. And then it also would be something in terms of making sure that specific users can't, overtake a specific booking.
Like
and things
book
like
every
that.
single.
Doing some.
Well, that's what was happening.
Yeah.
and
But
that was what
essentially, yeah.
Was torturing Sarah. That was hard.
Yeah, so it's gonna have some limitations as part of it that'd be built in that, are basically then be more operational. To make sure that users can do that, but, yeah, just from what was discussed from Rachel, is that we'd be able to make our, à la carte choices about what we'd like for specific facilities that the village has. And then once it's there, essentially when it's booked, it's, sent over, to the village to essentially show what the booking is. And we would have access to the calendar
So
administratively.
that allows you reconciliation for the fees and the booking as well.
Yes, I mean, from a financial perspective as well, but then also just from a management perspective, that we'd also just have access for the calendar, and that it's something that, our staff would have access to on their phones and things like that. But then also the financials, it'd be very easy in terms of tracking. Tracking what they would be doing for our finances and not necessarily, having cash and check and the other sources.
So bear with me, because I've got a lot of questions you may be able to answer quickly and easy on the park side, but so is this gonna basically mean that all people making reservations for all these facilities will be using
No.
credit cards?
It's just pickleball and tennis courts.
But we were having them manage multiple other. According to the proposal, I thought, didn't include the gazebo and,
Gazebo, sports
Yeah.
complex.
That's it, right?
okay, so, but will this mean that all of that's gonna shift to just credit card payment?
Yeah,
So why don't we build in the 3% that the village would otherwise be absorbing as a loss? If everybody's basically having to do a credit card, just like the state does with, you renew your license plate. There's a charge.
well, there's a couple, let me just play, I'm not, because there is a charge for the gazebo and the sports complex. Let me think what would be in the sports complex, because tennis and pickleball courts, yeah, if you reserve, there's a charge, it's small. Sports complex, what would you reserve at the sports?
Well, I wondered,
complex?
is there an opportunity for reserving part of the ice rink or for?
There could be, not yet, 'cause right now,
Right now, what we do is if they want to do a credit card payment, from my understanding, is that, Sarah will send them a direct link to their email, and that also includes a 3.25% credit card charge added on.
Okay, well, the reason I'm asking is because with this agreement that Northern Darrell will be processing everything and they're gonna bill us 3% for the credit cards.
You're right.
So why don't we just already have that into the price?
well, we could do that.
That was part of the that was part of the discussion at Parks as well, that it just from a administrative perspective, it was just built in as part of the fees. That it would be recouped as part of it, so it's just being absorbed as part of the cost, and it's not considered an additional cost, it's kind of a semantic thing, but.
Well, but have we raised the fees by 3% because the village would be paying that on everything that's processed?
This has come up for other things in the past in finance. The marina in particular, like a day slip rate, like why you couldn't include the credit card fee or the tax or something in it, what I would know about this better than I would.
I think
There's some, to be able to keep track of it, if you include it in the full amount, you somehow would have to back that.
You have to
fee
count
out.
for it. Because
Yeah,
you're
and
gonna
it was
be-
very cumbersome on the finance side, but I don't know if that applies the same to the credit card fee as it does to taxes on a purchase. So I think it's a bad question.
Well, I can't imagine why the village wants to just absorb 3% of all of this.
I mean, you could just raise the rate for each of the things.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
We
let's
can
back-
definitely raise prices
let's back-
to
I'm
offset
sorry,
the
go ahead.
credit card fees. If that's what you just would like to. I
So
do
we can raise
apologize.
prices.
didn't mean to.
I mean, in the other part down the list further was, what is our current revenue off all of these facilities?
I don't know if we have a current recap. do we?
So. Yeah, that was included.
Oh, one of the parks meetings. Correct.
meeting.
but it didn't include Village Hall, but that's not part of this. I don't have that with me. It was in a parks, it was in, we asked it in Sarah got us for us in a parks meeting a couple months ago. And I don't remember the number, I'm sorry. I don't remember what it was. I mean, it's not huge, but I don't remember what the number was. You know what? Good, well, you can find it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
While you're looking for that, if there's gonna be a specific refund policy statement, will that be something that Northern Door will have just built in so that we can control the refund policy of the village?
If there's a refund policy statement. There'll be
So they'll be
It's
handling
a
refund.
built
so
in, right?
They need to do it according to the village refund policy.
Do we have a village refund policy?
That's what I'm asking.
I don't
So I
know.
mean, it depends on each facility and so.
Correct.
It'd
And
be
that
based
it
off
would.
of the contract.
But we're gonna need to give them that guidance
Mhm.
as part of it.
Mhm.
And I would just say in terms of kind of an operations thing is that's the intention is whatever the current contract is what it would be on paper. That's essentially what's
Will be
somewhat
built
going
into
to.
how they manage it.
Exactly, is that if there's any specifications that are included in there, you know, like you can't reserve it this far out or you have a refund.
Right now, the refund policy is currently 48 hours before
Yeah,
the reservation.
I
Otherwise,
think
they
it's-
lose the entire, their entire, whatever they paid deposit, or I guess, fee.
Yes.
Okay.
And then how is kind of the online portal branded? Is it branded through Northern Door? Is it branded as Sister Bay managed by them? How does that look? Somebody,
The portal is Northern Door Sports
Sports and recreation.
something, and then when you go in there, it's, you wanna pull it up?
Yeah, it's like Northern Directa.
Yeah, you ever see one of their books?
no,
What-
I probably have. but I
You know
haven't
what,
paid
do you
attention.
remember, you know what the, Park District books look like back where you used to live?
Yeah.
Exact same thing, like, almost identical. Because, I think they, not that Rachel grew up in, I think, Arlington Heights. So it's very, very same thing. But here's the difference, it's so you'd brand it for, you know, Glenview or something like that. This is branded Northern Door Sports, and then within it, you'll see YMCA. You'll see, so she can pull it up for you so you can see it. It's not branded, but Sister Bay's logo, we can talk to her about that, but Sister Bay's logo would be in there.
So I'm just wondering if we're creating confusion by, I know it's gonna take a while for people to figure it out,
Right,
but if they're looking to do something with Sister Bay facilities,
Mhm.
but it's not showing up that way.
So
I'm
there,
just wondering if we're creating confusion.
yeah,
so in terms of the link specifically to the Village of Sister Bay's side of things, that was the intention is to have the link that specifically goes to, I guess, that subgroup of reservations.
So it kind of starts with Sister Bay and then gets kicked to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's gonna be available on the village website, but people could also access it just in general, signing up
Directly
for
through.
yeah,
their
Once
service
they
as
know that.
well.
right, because they'll be promoting it. They'll be promoting it with,
So this is what it looks like, Northern Door Sports and Rec. If you can pull up programs and everything will come up. You could also, if you know where it is, like here's Peninsula Aquatics, that's Rachel's place. If you're looking for swimming lessons, you can literally click right on that. And it will tell you all about it, and you can visit their website or you can sign up there.
So we would have something that the Village of Sister
your
Bay
landing page.
branding there that.
Yeah.
And you could also, it's searchable through all of their programs too. It should pop right up.
So, and so then she'll have scheduled media posts and also monthly newsletters and it will be in her published guide, which I think is twice a year now. So I understand how it, like, well, wait a minute. I think that, if we had the capacity to do it ourselves, you know, maybe, I don't know that we would even, but knowing that somebody that's an expert is doing it, I mean, it's really, she's an expert at booking things and doing it well and managing that. That's why we thought it was an interesting, I mean, test for lack of a
I
better.
mean, it's a
word.
partnership.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to outsource it to her and also it's housed in a place where people are looking for sports and people are looking for activities and people are, so they're scrolling through going, oh, well, we could play tennis in Sister Bay or we could, you know, play pickleball or something.
So
Yeah.
just for some perspective as well, I mean, in terms of the software that could potentially be procured to use that is that, you know, it's, you know, within like $10,000-15,000 for a community to use those services, to actually use the software. So just kind of dabbling in it for somebody that already has it, you know, it's kind of a steal, you know, if we're talking communities, probably 10,000 plus, they often use many of those type of programs to do
Yeah,
their
they do.
services. They work out really well. So.
Did you come up with the revenue or the numbers at all?
Yeah, so I just was pulling it up here as part of the April meeting. April, okay, I believe. Let's see.
I have, I highlighted a portion that talks about what you guys discussed on the credit card fees.
Okay.
You want to do it really quick?
You wanna say, sure.
So from the April 6th minutes from the parks,
Oh,
it says significant discussion occurred regarding the credit card processing fees, with Bell and Berto noting that many businesses pass these costs to customers. Rachel Stolenworth explained current limitations in their payment processing systems that prevents adding the fees directly to transactions, so there is a separate fee. Bell advocated for a flat fee structure rather than percentage-based pricing for the initial year.
but didn't say the flat fee could include the 3%.
But
Looks like-
it's an unknown, so it can't be a flat fee because you don't know the volume.
Well, the flat fee, I think.
Oh, you meant the flat fee for, sorry, you meant the flat fee for her services.
Yeah, for her service.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what it. Doesn't matter to me if we include it this year or not. I don't even know how much it costs to rent a court or how much, yeah.
Well,
How
that's
much does
why
it bring
it's-
it totally?
Yeah,
How much?
just
It's a-
pulling it. The laptop's
March.
not as fast here. Let's see. Facility rental totals, just getting the spreadsheet up here. So the village hall is separate, so I'm just gonna have to pull up that email, but for tennis and pickleball courts within 2025, it was approximately 1,700. For the gazebo, it was approximately $650. For the waterfront park rentals, it was approximately $3,500. For marina park rentals, it was approximately $3,800. For the pavilion, it was $145. For the sports complex and pavilion rentals, which looks like it's more so for the baseball leagues,
Yeah.
it was approximately
That's all
$500.
it'd be for, yeah.
And then for the fire station rentals, it was $1,000. And just to, I'm listing them all off, but I'm just reiterating again in terms of what it was for the actual services that be provided here. But for the pickleball courts, it was yeah, 1,700 here. And then gazebo, yeah, that'd be 641, and then sports complex. That'd be about the 500 as part of
But
it.
that's the base,
But that's
we
basically-
negotiated
that's-
that, that's negotiated with them, yeah.
So we're looking at spending.
$2,350 in credit card fee.
Which again, if they are paying it, you know, that's something that that the customer currently pays, but yeah, we'd be looking at having that be included in the future as part of the cost to be absorbed.
So we're looking at spending $1,600 on what currently we bring in 2,300.
Mhm.
I mean, this was kind of a trial run.
Well,
for-
I'm just, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing with it. I'm just saying that the numbers here.
Uh-huh. But the other part of it too is when you consider Sarah's hourly rate and what she's doing several hours a month. And what else could she be doing at that cost? That was a big thing for me anyway. Cause it's really,
I'd also like
Burdensome.
to say that people are very passionate about pickleball. And there is a lot of emotion in these calls.
I have heard this.
Which in
And
turn,
presence in there.
Sarah bears the brunt of those questions and is very pleasant, but this is kind of taking that out of the equation. for
So
Sarah.
where I was kind of going with all of that is we may need to consider after a trial run of adjusting the rates that we charge for rental.
Mhm.
to absorb.
Yeah, I mean, pickleball, what's a pickleball court? I can't remember. It's
I think it's
nothing
like $5
It's $5.
per court for 1 or 2 hours.
now, and we still got some pushback.
Yes.
But my point is, we're only coming out 600 positive,
Yeah, I know.
well, really 450 positive
Mhm.
to get
But
a
it's
trial.
less than $120 a month for the service. I mean, that's chump change compared to the taxing on Sarah.
Oh, no, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, I think
Yeah.
it makes sense in trial run, but I think we need to
Yeah.
do this with the caveat that we look at the fees we
Agreed.
charge, because
You think they're too low?
I think if we're taking what used to be revenue and now going revenue neutral.
I'm not sure that's the right way to look at it. I think the right way to look at it is relieving the burden on the village administration. I don't think,
I don't disagree with that. That is a plus.
okay,
I'm saying down the road
okay.
that we should
Yeah, I
just
mean,
keep
we
an eye on.
Well, isn't this being presented as a sort of like a trial?
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, I
Yeah,
think,
it's a 1 year.
Yeah, it's a 1 year, which essentially is
Just-
just 5 months for the time that they're, you know,
review it in
yeah.
in a year.
Louise, I have a question.
Sure, Patrice.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I really do. I saw that this is not in our budget. And so where does that money come from then if it's not in our budget?
Yeah, so this one would be part of the reserves for paying it as part of it for this current year. And then for the
Okay.
following year, it would be considered a budgeted expense.
Okay,
Under-
thank you.
Okay, this is a good discussion and we can we should take a look at fees, or we look at fees all, I mean, I think we look at those all the time in parks. Maybe it's just me. It seems like it's on it. And we can certainly look at those again. We haven't went to tennis or pickleball in a while, but we've looked at the others a lot. And I think they're in line, but maybe pickleball and tennis isn't, so. Then we'll see what Sarah thinks and see if it's helpful for her and you. And certainly get feedback from our users. And the other thing we can do is she can pull data for us. So it would be great to get data from her on a quarterly basis or something, because depending on how many users we have, we might, bit of a stretch, but might be able to use some of that data for grants. For outdoor rec, never know, but we might be able to, because right now it's hard to track. Harder, not hard, but harder to track. Okay, so I think what we're looking for is.
So it'd be for accepting or approving the proposal as presented, otherwise if there's any seeking any modification or negotiation as part of it, or if you need any additional information, reject the proposal, or if it needs to be postponed for the future.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve as presented?
So
Do I have a second?
Well, I'll second it. I was gonna say, with the stipulation that we review this in a year, but if it's a 1 year contract, I
Yeah.
guess we review it anyhow.
Okay,
Yeah, so I'll second.
okay. All in favor?
Hi.
Okay, thank you. We'll see how this works. Okay, up next is strategic planning discussion action items, 8B. Strategic planning elected official training.
So for this one, I would have liked to have a little bit more information that could have been presented from the last meeting, but many of the firms that provide the strategic planning services were a little bit busier. So actually it was last week I was able to meet with Innovative Public Advisors. And then just today, I was able to meet with administration associates regarding the strategic planning services and a little bit of a component for the elected official training. And so I just wanted to provide a touch base that essentially that these were the two firms that primarily provided strategic planning services within the state of Wisconsin. There was some smaller firms or sole proprietorship firms that were contacted regarding strategic planning, but unfortunately, when they were contacted, they indicated that they're not currently accepting new clients for the season, or that they're not providing some of those different services for it. Typically, the sole proprietorships are more zoning, planning, that type of thing, but strategic planning wasn't something that they're providing right now. So as part of it, for the following meeting, what's being proposed is that it would be including the proposals that are submitted by the two different firms for strategic planning. Each will provided very similar information about what the village is looking for strategic planning. And that would be able to review those proposals, and it'd be for the determination of the village board to if they wanted to accept either proposal for moving forward on strategic planning. Either ideally it'd be for starting in 2026 and then having the adopted document be available for 2027. And it align with what we're going through in terms of the budgeting process. So that is something to look forward to for the next meeting, just to touch base on that. Then also, just as part of the elected official training, just wanted to provide some additional training resources that are available for elected officials as well. So the Village of Sister Bay is a member of the League of Wisconsin Municipalities, as well as being insured through the League of Wisconsin Municipalities insurance provider as well, and that they do have some local government basics online training modules that might be of interest for any board members who want to buff up on some of those different topics that are available. And then there's also some different in-person networking opportunities generally within the Northeast Wisconsin area listed here, that there's a league locally opportunity available within the village, within the village of Wrightstown on June 3rd at 2 p.m. if anyone was interested.
So it's two different things. One is training, just training in general knowledge of, well, whether it's open meeting laws or parliamentary procedure and that sort of thing. That's the training piece of it. And then there's the strategic planning piece of it. So we still need to look at PAA's presentation, right?
Yes, so that would be
Or what they're suggesting. Okay.
Yep, so just in terms of, an apples to apples comparison, it hasn't been received for both firms yet, so just in terms of providing it an opportunity for any available strategic planning firms to have their proposals reviewed. And it's below the threshold of needing to be, competitively procured, and it's also a professional service as well.
Well, it doesn't mean that's not a good idea to. Better bids.
We for sure need one.
So it lists the price, but it's also, when you're talking professional services, unlike, construction, sometimes it's, it's sometimes more about the qualifications as well.
I mean, this is, when I took a look at the agenda that IPA put together, some of the topics, at least to me, this is a discussion we can have at the next meeting. It feels like we aren't giving it, we're not giving it as much time, so as I think we might need. For instance, we have a half an hour to hear from them and what they're, and introduce them, and then talk about objectives and agenda, and then we have a half an hour to talk about 2026. So I think, what our accomplishments, challenges, and lessons learned. So I think they probably meant 2025, I think, right? Or are we doing this in 27?
Well, ideally, it'd be part of it in 26, and then it'd be a 3-year document that would have it through 2027 through 2030 is what the strategic plan years would be true.
Okay. So, but if we're reflecting right now, we're reflecting on 25, not 26, I think.
Where are you seeing
But
There was, oh, you know what, there's an email that, I bet he may have just sent it to me. Because, because I work with him and, I'm sorry, I work with him and, I'm sorry, because he probably, we'll probably maybe look at it. Maybe look at it
Next month.
now, but yeah, we'll look at it next month.
Don't look too much behind the curtain. No,
No, it
it'll be
wasn't.
available publicly.
Yeah, it wasn't,
Uh,
but I get what the reason in general, let's forget about the individual things, was, do we think that we can sit down together, all of us, and do a strategic plan in 6 hours?
Yes.
So I mean, as part of it, I would say, I'm not quite sure if that's something that's up. I don't want to get too into it, but in any case, I don't know if it's specifically with the one that was proposed that it would be specifically in one meeting. It would probably be a few processes in terms of, touch base with, the village board on one side of things. There'd also be something with staff as part of it. And then it can either be a survey portion, which is a little more costly. Otherwise, something that's more cost effective is having, business or stakeholder representatives from the community being a sample
Interface.
and providing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to.
And that's a more cost-effective option while also getting it,
Okay.
getting the same, very similar information, but there's a few ways to do it. But in both, it was saying, where possible, it can also be cost-effective.
Okay. Okay. So wait to get the next one and then
So both-
decide how we schedule it and how much time and how we do it from there, right?
Yep, both proposals will be provided, for the upcoming meeting.
8C, amend 2020, any other questions? Sorry, thought I heard, okay. 8C, amend 2026 open book and board review dates. May 21, 9 to 11, June 1, 3 to 5.
Okay, I made this request because, the previous board of review days did not meet the publication postings that needed to be made. There's Wisconsin statutes that it has to be 15 days beforehand. So I called the assessor and we found this alternative, dates. I did want to clarify for anyone that doesn't know, board members do not have to be at the open book hearing, okay? That is strictly, for the people that are questioning the residents, they need to call into the assessor's office. And it's, basically a speakerphone conversation. And then for board of review, if somebody does have an objection to their assessments, they need to file with me, with the clerk's office, 48 hours ahead of time. And the board of review is June 1st on a Monday. That is 48 hours, real time, not business days, okay? So they would need to file an objection, basically, well, they could email or leave a message, okay? And then if there is nobody that objects, the board of review still does have to convene, okay? And I do need a quorum of 4 people, plus myself. The board of review, if nobody's there, has the choice of, opening the meeting. And then if nobody's there, you can close it right away. However, if you so choose, you can stay there the entire 2 hours in case somebody does show up to, ask for a waiver of the 48-hour notice. It's not required. That person technically should be there at the beginning of the meeting. So that is how that is going to operate.
And what's the best part?
Oh, well, someone has advocated for food to be brought in.
Well,
That's all. Here, so you don't skip out, on a very important meeting to myself.
Awesome.
I have to let you know right now, I can't attend. Damn it.
As
And
long
there's
as-
the one
I
time.
know, right?
As long as there is a quorum.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
because the parks is that day from
Parks is until 3 o'clock.
1 to 3, I got it.
Yep.
I would stick around, but I have to leave right at 3 because I have to go out of town and I can't,
And nobody else.
Can sneak a sandwich.
and I'll taking a sandwich with me. but
Yes, for the
I'll
road.
be hungry.
So the parks meeting is in here and the board of review is always held at the village hall, just to let you know.
Why is it always held at Village Hall?
Because it should be. I'm just kidding.
So
It's a
cute.
village hall.
You know, I
No, they're tall, no.
I don't know, I
use it
thought
for
it was
something.
cheap,
Okay,
but it just, I don't know,
It's
it's
close to our vote.
maybe
no,
easier.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I just was curious about it. It's totally great.
It's not air conditioned.
Okay. Okay, I think we
Yeah.
need to approve the new
We need to go.
dates. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make
the
that
new
motion.
dates Anymore. Second,
What is the motion?
to approve the new dates for open book and board
Second.
review. Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Considering it's already been published and mailed, so.
Yes, the,
It's,
thank you, Skip. But,
it's been ratified.
yeah, right, do you, does everybody here besides Louise, how does that date work for you, just out of curiosity for myself?
Oh,
I'll be able to make it.
time to look.
1, 2, Dave said yes, 3,
Yeah, I should be fine.
okay, 4. Maybe we have a 5. Thank you very much.
If nobody shows up, we adjourn down to
Okey dokey, next up is HD, Technology Device and Cloud Services Policy.
All right, so this is a follow-up from the last village board meeting as well, regarding the technology device and cloud services policy. At the last meeting, there was specific, directives from the village board to revise the policy to include a reimbursement amount of $600 per term instead of per year, to create a clear reimbursable expense definition. And then the need for finalized, proration repayment provisions for early departure, and then ultimately providing a cost comparison as part of this policy. So as part of it, I think the first thing that'll be covered here is just the financial evaluation. If we're looking at how many service pros would be needed for village trustees and plan commission members, we'd be looking at a count of 11. For the lowest cost is approximately $700, which ultimately would result in $7,700 with an average useful life being 8 years. There is also additional maintenance that would be applied as part of this. So essentially, if we're looking at it over a 10-year period, you have to replace the service pros twice throughout that period, including the annual maintenance costs, which are typically included or applied as part of it to the budget for each year. For any updates from our IT provider. So that totals to approximately $29,000 there. And then if we're looking at it in terms of what the policy would provide, you'd be looking at it for a 2-year period for any of the trustee positions here for the policy, and that you'd be looking at $600 per term based on even and odd year terms there. Ultimately resulting, that's for the village board, and then for the plan commission, it'd be for every 3-year terms. And ultimately, if we're totaling it over a 10-year period, it would be a little bit less than the $29,000 as well. So essentially, it's very comparable in terms of what it would be for the replacement. If you did take a look at the Service Pro and it was a little bit more costly than $700 in the future, which it very well might be, there could be a little bit more added to it. But essentially, as part of the evaluation, it's very comparable. It's just whether or not the village should be providing this resource of an asset, or whether or not personal devices would be preferable and have a reimbursement for it.
So the stipend is submit whatever allowable expense it is, and you're reimbursed, correct?
Correct.
Up to
So-
$600.
Yes, up to $600 per term. So essentially, as part of it, if you got a portion of a laptop reimbursed within one term, seeking reelection, one for another term, you ended up getting some additional supplies as part of it. That would be identified as an additional allowable expense that could be utilized as part of it for the additional term. But it would be after that 2-year period. So outside of the term of office. That was initially.
So how does that work for trustees that are on plan commission? Where do they fall?
So that would be as part of it, where in terms of the expenses, that was calculated as if it would be, you'd just be getting one stipend.
But is it on a 2-year or 3-year cycle?
It would be on the 2-year cycle.
So the trustee takes precedent over.
Correct, because technically, if we're talking about it from a governance perspective, is that you're on the plan commission in the
As
board
a
being a
result.
trustee.
Okay.
Whereas just the other members of the plan commission, it's not trustee roles, it would be for citizen roles.
I mean, the one thing we don't have taken into account here is inflationary costs in either of them. So, but I mean, that would be the same either way. I think we just have to make sure that we're cognizant if we were to go with the reimbursement that we keep up with
Yeah,
technology cost.
because this doesn't, this is one that could be adjusted accordingly, I guess. It doesn't say it in here.
That'd be a budget thing.
Yeah. And we're responsible for our own installation, and so basically our own IT guy, all that stuff, right?
Yep, it would
After
be.
the initial setup.
Yes, so it would be the expectation that the devices would be utilized for, that when you're utilizing it for village business, that it'd be utilized based on the Microsoft 365 platform, that everything would be saved within the online cloud platform. Otherwise, if there is any issues as part of saving it to the device, it could potentially make it liable for doing some open records searching if you're using it outside of the
Right.
365 scope as well. And so essentially, if the content of this policy is acceptable, the next part of this would be sending it over for legal counsel review to finalize if there is any, excuse me, all analogies here. If there is going to be any, complications with what the policy is being proposed as, so just finalizing and making sure it's fine for a legal perspective.
So who pays for the Microsoft 365? The village?
The village does, and we actually just reviewed what the 365 was, and we were able to limit some of the additional 365 users that were on a higher tier but didn't need to be. So we had some cost savings, and we monitored that
Okay.
each year.
That was my question too. Okay.
So good save lab.
So what does that mean if we're adding additional users onto the 360?
These ones would not, I think the only thing that would be needed for the additional users would be for the planning commission members as part of it. And I think it's, maybe like $11, I think like either 6 or
Pretty
11,
insignificant.
part of it, yeah, in terms of the large scale, it wouldn't be significant.
You have a question?
Yeah, is for the Surface Pro, the 1375 every single year for maintenance costs, does that include software? Like, does it include the 365 in that cost? Because you would be paying that anyway.
So the maintenance costs wouldn't be applied as part of your own personal devices. That's something where we have, our IT provider that's going in and updating anything to the antivirus and making sure that everything's updated, and generally, if there's any startup, that's provided for that as well.
But I mean, in this calculation, where we included 1375 a year just to get to the, the price comparison.
Yeah,
Was the 365 included in that number?
no, because we pay that for,
That's separate.
separate. This is for IT
So it's
providers.
apples to apples.
Yeah, and then what happens to the Surface Pro? What if somebody's like, I love this, can I use it till it dies?
Generally, as part of the policy, there's a grandfathering where it is, if they want to keep on using it, they can, and if they eventually want to move forward with having the new, reimbursement, that they can, but it wouldn't be available to anyone in the future if they were grandfathered in.
Okay, so as they phase out, they'll just,
Correct.
Make fun of
Because it says they can do it only for the remainder of their current term.
yeah, okay.
Okay, I know this is a stupid question, but I don't understand all this stuff. So if you go ahead and put it on your own, in my case, my Mac or something, is there any, would it impact the amount of memory I need?
If you save it to the cloud, you have a
won't.
certain amount that would be
Right.
attributed, and it's,
Okay.
pretty high.
Okay.
I mean, it would be some memory to have the
Right.
program, but.
I've got
I
a
wouldn't
lot.
want it to be-
So one time in my life, I had memory, I had memory issues anyway, but it has nothing to do with my computer. That's-
But we're not adopting the
We're not adopting
policy
it
right
tonight.
now.
No.
So
We're just looking through it.
If we think it looks good, then we ask them to check with legal.
Okay.
So we've confirmed the content of the policy, and then we'll check with legal review if we're finalizing it, and then it would come back for proposed as adoption.
So if I have a problem with something in the policy, is this a good time?
This is exactly.
For eligible expenses. Smartphone. I don't know why that would apply. Like, no one sits here and goes through the packet. or during the meeting on their smart.
I had to at one plan commission meeting. Cause this thing died.
Yeah,
But
but I mean,
no, it's
I
not
wouldn't
normal.
think that should be an
I
eligible
think it could
expense.
be eliminated.
Yeah,
Like
would
everybody
agree.
has a smartphone. You're not having to get one to
and
be
who
on
wants a
it.
second one?
And I don't think you're putting it 365. I don't know. And that one just stood out to me
Is
as,
there a reason to include it?
I think it just was about the equity of if somebody wants that to do that business, that it's.
I just think you maybe, and I don't think anybody here would do it, and I don't see you doing it, but somebody could go say, oh, awesome, like I have a laptop already, I'm gonna go buy a new smartphone, and I'm gonna put $600 towards that just because I want a new smartphone.
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't think you should do that. That was-
Everybody agrees, I'm not stating.
I don't think it's a necessity. I mean,
No.
I think we could start with it too.
Yeah, strike it.
So that is just some directive there, and then just it's understanding the directive is also to move forward with legal review and bring it to the next village board meeting.
okay, we have consensus on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, next up is AE, monthly financial report and appropriations. If memory serves, do I review do we review these first, or do I put a motion in?
Usually Nate just makes a motion, because then discussion allows.
And then-
Yeah, if you want to make a
Okay.
motion to approve.
So let me just get to that page, sorry. Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve, paying, bills in the amount of $476,970.82.
Second,
In favor.
Aye.
Hi.
we have discussion before.
Good job.
You need discussion, dude.
Discussion, I do that, I'm sorry about that. Sorry. Okay.
Is Plaid still on with us?
Yes, Vlad?
Yes, yeah.
So I am curious, on page 35 of our packet. Vendor 30750,
Just a second.
Oh, God.
it's garbage collection and recycling. There's a lot of variance there in the billing, I get that based on some of those. But how does the marina end up with such a large bill when it hasn't even been open for 6 months?
So, Vlad, do you want me to answer this one?
Sure, if you know about Marina, but the other things I can help out too. I guess go ahead, Ben.
Oh, you take a crack at it.
So technically they charge no matter what. So they pick up from Marina once they stop there. They put it on the bill. The increase is due to the fuel surcharge. And
So Vlad and I met with Going Garbage, not this week, but the previous week, just to discuss some of the different, surcharges that were specifically going on with diesel. So there has been an increase that was associated with those that were, pretty high expenses, that we were not necessarily anticipating as part of this year, but something that would be considered as part of the contract renewal, which we're gonna have to look at garbage within 2026, that we potentially be looking at changing some language in the contract to make it a little bit more even throughout the year. So we wouldn't necessarily have these ups and downs, and potentially would be able to have some cost savings as well. And then, yeah, as part of the marina, as Vlad was saying, is that it's not necessarily based on use, it's just that it keeps on, the garbage trucks are coming no matter what. And so that's how the contract is put out there. So even though it's not being utilized, it's still, they're making the route as part of it.
Yeah, it seemed like a very expensive bill for nothing that really is happening. 'Cause I'm pretty sure that probably in January, he didn't stop.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
empty the dumpster.
Yeah. I don't know if Vlad, if there's any additional context for that.
Sarah just texted me. She said Marina just had their trash cans set at the marina for the season, but we're gonna have to look into that and talk to Andrew about. And she
Our
also saying
contract-
it's a first charge for the season because they added dumpsters.
I wonder if they had a dumpster for the boardwalk project.
And higher charge for setting the dumpsters. And I do apologize for going back to Sarah because Sarah, she's in charge of paying going garbage, and I'm just reviewing that.
Team effort, we're good.
Okay, I guess in light of this, let's look into it, cause
Sure.
it just seems excessive. And then I think I may already understand the answer to this one on page 40 was hiring an outside contractor to take down Christmas lights. Is that because we've got reduced staff on the park side by one person or? Vendor.
What vendor number?
10012. Was on page 40 of the packet.
$1,665. That one,
Yeah,
dollars.
10012.
yes.
What's the name?
Precision Property.
Okay.
Invoice number 1010.
Mhm. Let me just look into it.
Because I know that parks, they probably use the same people because they outsource, putting up some of the Christmas lights on the big trees.
Do there,
Mhm,
okay.
mhm. They do. Yeah. So that could be same people are coming to take.
It
down.
just, again, I'm the first time looking through these and it's something that stood out. It seems like you've got staff that does most of the Christmas lights and then.
They do, but I think I think I could be wrong, but I think it's the big ones
I
in,
can- If
That you
either,
need a lift for.
in
I
Waterfront
was-
Park that you need a lift for.
that would be my assumption as well, but we can make sure to pull it up for clarify.
Okay,
Yeah, it was Christmas lights removal. It just never got paid back in January. We can double check with Eric. I think it's
And I can make
looks
a
like
note
it-
to ask the parks, we have parks, not next week, but the week after.
okay, thank you.
I have just a general question, Vlad.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this, not that it's exorbitant, but our vehicle fuel, cost in relative to budget is, do you think that we're gonna, I mean, cause I don't know that we would have budgeted $4 and some odd cents a gallon. So are we gonna, any way of, I don't need an answer right now, but it's just something to look at. I'm not sure when it's going back down and I don't know if it's gonna be have much of an impact, I'm not sure, but anyway.
there is a high chance that we might gonna get over the budget.
Yep.
But
Yep.
as long if you're going to stay with the category no higher than $5,000, then no amendment is needed. But
Okay. Wasn't even
if-
suggesting it, I mean, I didn't know that we even needed to do an amendment, I got you, I just wondered if maybe we keep an eye on it, cause I don't know when it's gonna get lower.
Especially diesel.
Oh,
Start
Yeah.
pulling out the bikes.
And then also from the county, is this the last of our snow and ice stuff from them? Or are they still billing us for that?
I think I just scheduled one for payment yesterday,
Okay,
another like 5,000 something.
Hard to believe it.
yeah, cause I know they, yeah, cause you paid this April 24th, cause I wondered like, we got a biggie coming in, okay. Thank you.
I have one question. Very general question, page 36, halfway down. 9-foot snowplow and heavy duty rotary broom, is that something that was, did Parks budget for that, or is that because there was so much snow stuff happened?
It was budgeted.
Good.
That's part of the CAP.
Awesome, yeah, I couldn't.
Yep.
I didn't.
And Eric
remember
came
what that
before
was like.
purchasing it as well and made sure to make us aware.
Some things got moved out, but those stayed.
Well, that makes sense.
The deal was he needs to sell his truck in order to buy this one. I mean, it's not necessarily a truck, it's equipment, but
Yeah,
Do you know, is that a new surveillance camera for the marina? Cause I know Quantum had done one once.
I have no idea.
I knew there was one there. Well, there's a camera there. I mean, there's a camera, there's a sunset cam, but I
There's
don't know.
about 9 cameras there.
I know, this is because there was a sunset cam, which, is on, the SBA's website and viewed multiple times. Because of
Yeah,
all of our
And the
views.
trees are in the way now.
Thank you for pointing that out, Skip. Maybe we should do something about that. We'll get Parks right on it. Okay, anybody else have any other questions? Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we go to staff reports. There was a separate file for that.
Yeah,
No, was it committee reports that was?
it
No,
was
staff reports, sorry.
separate for the committee report, but just wanted
Yeah.
to provide some verbal updates as well. So as last village board meeting, there was a request for having Frontier provide a broadband update. The local representative, Robbie Leclerc was requested to provide an update in a future meeting regarding the construction timeline, a phase map, and service coverage for the village. As it turns out, there is a corporate process that they have over at Frontier, where in order for a representative to speak publicly on behalf of corporate, they do need to have a little bit more, approval as part of it. So he wanted to provide a written statement, which would be included at the Parks Committee meeting for June 1st. It'll ultimately be available for being distributed to the village board as well for those type of updates.
So he's gonna deliver, sorry, he's just gonna provide us with the statement.
Correct.
So it won't be, we won't be able to ask him questions or anything like that, right?
Unfortunately, no, he had some issues with getting the approval as part of it to speak publicly on behalf of Frontier.
Okay.
And then also just wanted to make everyone aware that the zoning map that was approved at the April 21st meeting is currently available on the village's website. So everything has been there for a few months now, but just wanted to make it clear that everything is currently available. The next step within the process is just updating the GIS folder as well. I will probably either going to be asking Megan if she can update the website based on the shape files that were received. Otherwise, we'd also be having some assistance as part of Bay Lakes Regional Planning's contract for that as well, which we were under contract significantly for their services, so that would be something that they'd be able to.
Yeah, there's included the GIS.
What?
Bay Lakes included the GIS update, correct?
Yes,
As I
it was
recall.
time and material, so it's really up to us if we want to utilize it, if we can't do it in-house, so it's just making sure that we have the capacity in-house, or if we need to outsource that to Bay Lakes.
Can I ask one quick question?
Yeah,
Where do I find the, maybe I'm just not looking in the right place. Where would I find the, zoning map?
you go under municipal code,
Municipal code?
or it'd be
And
under
where would I find
ordinances.
that? Under
Municipal code
ordinances.
up on the top,
Got it. Okay, it's in there. Great.
and then it's on the bottom, right next to the zoning code.
Beautiful. Thank you. Because sometimes people ask me, and I, myself, so, thanks.
And the future land use map has been updated near the comprehensive plan within the community development, I believe, website as well. Then just wanted to make a note that at a future finance committee meeting that Baird was contracted to provide TID overview services. So essentially, those are a comprehensive review of our existing TIDs and doing a more thorough analysis and doing performas, essentially providing a full packet of what has been done to date to allow for better management of our existing TIDs. So they're going to be providing that report in either the June or July meeting. And then they're also going to be providing TID 101 training to any of the finance committee members. And if any of the village board members would like to also attend anything for the TID 101 training, there would also be an opportunity to do so as well. Then just a few things in terms of the major projects. So for the administration building, just wanted to make a note that the RFP is going to be ending here on June 12th, 2026 for any responses from any architecture and engineering firms. We've got quite a bit of inquiries asking some different questions about it from many engineering firms, and we also provided solicitation as well as public posting for the RFP. So we've had a lot of interest as well. Have not received any submissions, but it typically is 5 days prior when typically for RFPs receive a lot of submissions. Just wanted to make a note here for the utility Highway 57 utility extension project that currently staff is working with the village engineers to identify the service area for the project. It's taken a little longer than it was initially anticipated to determine who the beneficiaries of the project might be proposed to be. But that was the initial step that was needed in order to then work with Baird about creating different financing options for the utility extension project. If that did move forward, once those actions are complete, it'll go back to finance for having a review and making a recommendation to the village board on how that project would be proceeding forward.
Sorry, Ben, can I make one quick comment?
Yeah.
I just want to make it very clear, if anybody goes back to this video, that no utility project has been approved in any capacity yet. Gotten several questions on that. People are like, what? We're doing utilities? How much is this gonna cost? When did this happen? And I'm like, it hasn't happened. There's just been some high level discussion.
Right.
There's been no real numbers
Right.
yet. I just want to put it out there
It's-
in case anyone approaches you and asks.
I've already been approached, so is there a map?
Nope,
No
there's
map.
really,
Okay,
any map that exists right now is incomplete, I would say. Would
Okay.
you agree?
It's from 2018 engineering files about what was initially proposed, but nothing's up to date. Right now, we're in the information gathering phase where essentially if this did move forward, it'd be a few different alternatives about how it would go in terms of, financing and feasibility.
okay.
So that is where we're at within that project.
Thank you, Bridget.
And then for the Highway 57 trail project is that Luis and I did meet with the representatives from REL regarding the trail project. There was some different issues that the DOT had with the location or generally the crossing for the trail. So we're going to be discussing at the upcoming Parks Committee meeting some different alternatives that might be available to keep that project moving forward. But there's been no indication that there's going to be that it would not be starting later than 2027. And then just for the parks, finalizing it here is that we did finish up on having our cold storage RF or solicitations for responses to that. Eric received one bid, and that's going to be going forward to the Parks Committee meeting at an upcoming meeting. Any questions on anything else at all?
Okay, so we will now move to the May 2026 committee reports. As we've done in the past, I'm gonna go through, I'll just name the reports. If anybody has any questions, I can do that. I'm gonna just use I'm gonna go in the order on the packet, if that's okay. Marina Committee. I do have a quick question, just generally. When will construction start on the new building?
Hoping fall of this year, this upcoming month, we will send the final plans to the board for approval and then we can put out for an RFP.
Okay, that's probably in the minutes, I'm sorry, I got lost.
No,
Okay, let's see, up next is Finance Committee from April 13th. Okay, next up is Sister Bay Liberty Grove Fire Board from May 21st.
it hasn't happened yet. And
That
it's
certainly
certainly
hasn't.
agenda.
Today is, okay, just the agenda. Okay, let's see, Special Plan Commission meeting from Monday, April 20th. I do have a and I think this probably happened, but Skip had requested that the commission, this is for plan, receive current copies of the zoning code. And that staff default to providing digital
It was-
copies.
Provided.
Okay, great, okay. Ad hoc green tier from Wednesday, April 22nd. Additionally to that, I can report that the tree giveaway was very successful. Well done, team did great. We were excited about that.
In 5 years, you'll be able to see one, Louise.
Oh, stop it.
When it grows tall enough for you to see.
Like crazy. You know, if you fertilize things, Skip, you'd be surprised.
I did.
Parks from Monday, May 4th. We did move our walking tour to the fall. We don't normally do it in the spring. Okay, next up, Sister Bay Liberty Grove Library Commission on Monday, April 13th. There is a typo, but it's not a big deal, but if you want to make the change. I don't know, on page 21, that's where the typo was, line 9.
You're asking the library?
Yeah, we don't have access to the,
Never mind, this is
Minutes.
personnel. Sorry, personnel committee. I mean, it's in the library. Well, it is a library, but it isn't that, because ironically, this is personnel Wednesday, April 29th. I'm sorry, on page 21, line 9, it says house to contact the local newspaper. It just house it. It's, if you change it, yes, if you don't, you don't. Okay. Okay, that's it for committee reports. Okay, agenda item 11, matters to be placed on a future agenda referred to committee, official, or employee.
So the 3 that I jotted down were remembering the York County Tourism Board appointment,
Mhm.
the strategic planning info update, and then tech policy review as it comes back from legal.
Yes, and then what I was also gonna say, if there was anything for referring the propane over to finance, if that was of interest.
Yeah, I think that's good.
It feels like with so many providers up here that should almost be standard to get bids every year from all of them.
Yeah.
Then I know we have one that has a facility in town, but
I wondered, and this is add to a list whenever, but I think we were gonna look at, bylaws for the board. Or relook at them and also have a discussion about our zoning.
Yeah, so the bylaws, I know that's something that was referred to that. And then in terms of the zoning, that is currently being picked up in plan commission.
Okay.
Okay, I have a really random question. I don't know if it's a referral, it's more of a what committee would this apply to situation. So I got an email the other day about what was going on in Bailey's Harbor with their town hall library and the geothermal piping.
Mhm.
I don't know what the numbers are on that. I'm sure it was super expensive, but apparently it was a no-brainer over the long haul. Who takes a look at that for us in our own building, and if it's even feasible, because it's basically on the side of a rock?
Yeah.
I was just curious if someone could like poke the bear a little bit.
Well, at Green Tier, we've talked about making a recommendation to the, in looking at the construction of doing some, environmentally friendly things with the building. To answer your question, I think it was 1.7 million
But who would look into?
for Bailey's, I mean.
Well, for us.
No, but for the cost.
Our committee structure.
No, I got
probably
you, yeah.
Would be parks
Parks?
property.
Yeah, it'd be Parks, because we're the ones that'll look at
Okay,
construction.
geothermal and solar,
Yeah, and we talked about that as well.
yeah.
So, and, because when we were, I guess it was Jeff Lutzy I was talking to about solar. And about the panels on the roof, and he said the best See, in his opinion, the roof needed to face,
So,
yeah, so,
So that would be part of the, yeah, that'd be
But,
part of like the architecture design for.
right, so we can talk
safety,
about,
yeah.
but we also talked about,
Yeah, I
catching
would,
rain and, you know. do
so
all
it
the
can
things.
be, we can have that be referred to for parts as part of it for the evaluation.
Mhm.
okay. I just don't wanna forget
The
it.
difference is geothermal on the lakeside is sand and dirt, over
Mhm.
here it's rock.
Yeah,
See
that's what I was
about
like, I don't even know if it's even a choice.
Yeah.
I just.
They did the math when they, and you're right, I mean, they did the math for, because it's heating their town hall and library. And ultimately, I don't know if it's gonna go anywhere else.
The payback was long, but being municipal, you can,
Yeah, it was 20 years or something.
I was gonna say, yeah,
It was a long
within
time.
30.
Yeah, it was a lot, but,
Yeah, okay.
Likewise, any other items that would be referred?
that's all I have. Anybody else have anything else? Okay, so, executive session.
next meeting.
We're just identifying the next,
So now we're gonna move into executive session,
yeah.
correct?
Well, just if you wanna list, just confirming the time for the next meeting, yes.
Oh, the next meeting, I'm sorry, it is on Tuesday. Let's see. Will be Tuesday, June,
The 16th.
um,
Are we the third Tuesday?
third
It'd be
Tuesday,
the 16th, yes,
16th.
unless it
Yeah.
was proposed to be, moved for that.
Yeah, does anybody wanna move it for any reason? All right, 4 p.m. on Tuesday, June 16th, or so 4 p.m.
At
6 p.m.
6 p.m.?
6 p.m.
Yeah, 4 p.m. came out of your mouth.
I know, you know what, I was looking for, there's a volunteer, there's a volunteer thing at Peach Barn at 4 p.m., that's what I read. Okay, 6 p.m. So BOD, all right, next up is executive session. 13A, Wisconsin Stats 19.
I will sign off.
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Correct, yes, yes, thank you,
Yep,
Patrice.
I will sign off, yes.
Feel better.
Get out.
Better.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks for joining.
I need to pick everybody out.
Do you want to let me know when you're,
Yes,
okay?
thank you.
Sure.
Pick everybody out.
Is Randy joining us?
Randy is not joining us,
Oh,
but I did speak to.
okay, I didn't know.
Alright, I just need to figure out that
All right,
font.
and I'll get that, I'm getting out now, so. Don't worry about me. It's frozen.
It's just a very small.
And all my people,
Anybody there?
yeah, Sarah and some guy named Michael. That's your guy named Michael?
My guy?
Sorry. We're good.
So you're looking for a motion to
Yeah.
follow the advice of legal counsel?
Yes,
That would be my motion.
okay, so moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye. All right, beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Thanks those of you online. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.